The 1995 Constitution
Uh-huh.
is a brainchild of the NRM government. We need to respect that Constitution.
Oh my God. What a brilliant guy. He's sort of invoking Martin Luther King. You know, there's a point where Martin Luther King Jr. said, what we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. And then he went on to say that if I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I would understand some of the denial of these rights. But somewhere I read, he was referring to the American Constitution, the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest for right. This is what Joel Ssenyonyi is saying to Museveni. That dude, you drafted the 1995 Constitution. Respect it. He said the 1995 Constitution is a brainchild of the NRM. This is a slap in Museveni's face.
You're watching Mordecai Marissa Live Political Commentary. Please consider subscribing to help grow Uganda's Voices of Struggle ecosystem. Thank you.
I cannot appreciate you enough for using your valuable time to always go on social media, break down things for people.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am back and better. That's what we used to do in a sound booth when recording, ads or commercials for our clients. You'd have to go and record it several times. Back and better. Back and better. Mordecai Marissa is back and better in his home studio. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Are you ready? I am ready. Come on. I enjoyed myself in Massachusetts. And here we are. I enjoy having fun. Yeah, I had a wonderful time in areas of Roxbury, Sunbury, Waltham, Hudson. Wonderful people in Massachusetts. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm dressed all in black to mourn the passing of General Moses Ali. I know now many of folks on our side are going to be like, Mordecai, you're starting now to co-opt some of the ideologies of the Museveni criminal regime. Absolutely not. But I can send sympathies with people, especially with the family members of Moses Ali. I really felt bad for him. When people were mocking him, I'm like, geez, why won't they take him home to enjoy the company of his grandchildren? And talking about sending sympathies and condolences, this is what Bobi Wine said. Sending my condolences to the family, friends, and constituents of General Moses Ali upon his death. May Allah comfort you and grant him Jannatul Firdaus. Inna lillahi wa inna lillahi rajiun. Words from Bobi Wine, they usually say, Mordecai, you guys of Bobi Wine, you dance on the graves of the deceased. I don't do that, never will I. But I know for sure that some folks on our side who do it. I'm always interested in finding out why they're doing it instead of just rushing to judge them, to be like, you can't do that. I'm like, why are they doing it? Please interest yourself in doing so. But you've seen the position of Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine is saying, hey, we are sorry for what has befall or what befell your family. So you cannot judge Bobi Wine by the actions undertaken by Emolodoka Yinkowe in Gulama, seated on a kastulu, typing and dancing at the grave of Moses. I'll never do that, but I know there are some people who do. So this is the official position of Bobi Wine and NUP. And now talking about opposition or opposition of the NUP, I'm going to go on and take you to Joel Ssenyonyi, what he said. While paying tribute to the late General Moses Ali, the leader of the opposition, Joel Ssenyonyi, demonstrated that politics does not have to erase respect. I 100% agree. It sort of becomes a little difficult when you are being led by criminal thugs who enjoy abducting, torturing, and killing of innocent people. How do you convince them that, hey, I don't hate you? And how do you desist from hating these people who do these things to you? That's the thing I would like to have, where I'm not hating these people. But, despite standing on the opposite side of Uganda's political divide for years, Ssenyonyi acknowledged that General Moses Ali's service to country was worthwhile and paid tribute to his leadership and sacrifices. But if anyone really expected Joel Ssenyonyi to deliver only an emotional eulogy, was in for a ginormous surprise. True to form, journalist and the lawyer turned opposition leader or leader of opposition in parliament used the solemn occasion not only to honor the fallen NRM statesman, but also to remind dictator thug, the self-serving narcissistic sociopath, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and Napo baby DDG or daily drinking General Muhoozi Kainerugaba that no one is above the Constitution. Sad we have to remind them. Rather than letting the moment pass without addressing the country's pressing concerns, Ssenyonyi emphasized the importance of respecting the rule of law, constitutionalism, and the rights of all Ugandans. Sad we have to remind the custodian of those things I just mentioned above. Sad we have to remind, hey, it's good to respect the rule of law. Come on. It was a speech that went beyond mourning. It was a constitutional challenge delivered at a time when the nation's attention was fixed on one event, Moses Ali. Now, for the NRM's criminal regime supporters, I don't know if there are still a few, those remarks are pretty much making them uncomfortable because they expected Joel Ssenyonyi to only send praises and emotions to the family or to Moses Ali. But Joel Ssenyonyi really gave you both. He injected a reminder that Uganda's law should apply equally to everyone, including those at the highest levels of power, looking at Museveni and referring to Muhoozi Kainerugaba as you're going to see here. Let me go on and show you what Joel Ssenyonyi said, and then we're going to break this down together. It was a speech that I put usually in this position of chef's kiss. Watch here.
General Ali devoted over 5 decades of his life to public service. Throughout that long journey, he served Uganda in various capacities as a soldier, a member of parliament, a cabinet minister in several portfolios, first deputy prime minister, second deputy prime minister, and lead deputy leader of government business. He remained a central figure in Uganda's public affairs for many years. The late General Moses Ali belonged to a generation of leaders that witnessed and indeed participated in some of the most defining moments in Uganda's history. Through periods of political transition, conflict, reconstruction, and nation building. His longevity in public service also meant that he mentored and worked alongside several generations of leaders. Many members of this House today have differed with him politically, but they undoubtedly learned valuable lessons from his experience, his institutional memory, and understanding of the evolution of our nation.
Yeah, and it's glad we have Joel Ssenyonyi, because if it was Mordecai giving that speech, I would be like, but he didn't, understand the time to leave the stage. He kept dancing, even when he didn't have dance in his bones anymore. Sad.
That wealth of experience deserves acknowledgement and respect. Public service is one of the noblest callings. It demands sacrifice, resilience, and commitment. The late Moses Ali answered that call for much of his life, and for that he deserves our respect and gratitude. He belonged to the NRM, and I belong to the National Unity Platform, NUP. But I respected him, even though we differed politically.
That's how it should be. That's what we're trying to do, try to respect all these people. But they take that for granted. They'll be like, we shall exchange respect for abduction.
I didn't even agree with the idea of him running for office again, yet he was unwell and needed to take a break.
That's Ssenyonyi for you. He's going to tell truth to power in the most kindest way. He's talking about this thing. It really broke my heart every time I looked at Moses Ali. Couldn't stand, couldn't walk, couldn't clean himself, but he still had opportunists behind him, pushing him to the limits. You know, when you have your granny, suppose you had your granny and they were driving, they come to a point where they cannot drive. You just have to take away the keys, hide them. That's not an action of hate. No, it's an action of love. Because you don't want them to die. You don't want them to embarrass themselves. People laughed at Moses Ali. They made fun of him in Kenya, in Uganda. We became a laughing stock. But regardless of all that, there were opportunists, of course, emboldened by the narcissist Museveni for Moses Ali to keep going.
But I still give him his flowers for the service that he rendered this nation over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues. His passing, however, also invites us to reflect
Let's go.
on an important national conversation.
Tell me.
Death reminds all of us
Mm-hmm.
that beyond our different political parties,
Mhm.
ideologies, and contests, we are all temporary custodians of public office.
Oh, you don't say. Museveni doesn't believe that. Museveni believes he's going to be president for the next 5,000 years. That's why he doesn't think about transition at all. Every time you bring that question, he engages in these unsolicited, nebulous, vague lectures, and he never answers the question.
None of us is a permanent fixture in this world,
Mm-hmm.
and no position or status we hold is everlasting.
How brilliant to know this.
So while we hold office, may we cause positive impact.
Good.
May we be diligent leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Let us respect the rule of law
Ooh.
and the people of Uganda whom we serve.
Beautiful.
As we mourn the late General Moses Ali, may this occasion renew our collective commitment to selfless leadership, accountable governance, and service above self.
Well, those are anathema. That's anathema to the Museveni criminal regime. Let's go back here to what he said.
May this occasion renew our collective commitment to selfless leadership,
Selfless leadership,
accountable governance,
governance,
and service above self.
and service above self. I think you're pretty much saying here, the Museveni criminal regime should pack up and leave. They cannot in any way bring themselves closer. I mean, this would be bringing butter close to sand or to any hot object. It's going to melt. So Museveni cannot at all work within those realms.
Let us strive to leave behind institutions that are stronger than we found them, and a country that is better because we had the privilege to serve.
Beautiful.
We welcome the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces who joined us earlier for this tribute session.
Museveni.
I would like to urge him
Mm-hmm.
to prevail over the various security entities.
Prevail over the various security entities. He's referring to Muhoozi Kainerugaba.
To observe the law
Muhoozi Kainerugaba.
and respect the law as they
Beautiful.
do their work.
Mm-hmm.
The 1995 Constitution
Uh-huh.
is a brainchild of the NRM government. We need to respect that Constitution.
Oh my God. What? What a brilliant guy. He's sort of invoking Martin Luther King. You know, there's a point where Martin Luther King Jr. said, what we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. And then he went on to say that if I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I would understand some of the denial of these rights. But somewhere I read, he was referring to the American Constitution, the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest for right. This is what Joel Ssenyonyi is saying to Museveni. That dude, you drafted the 1995 Constitution. Respect it. He said the 1995 Constitution is a brainchild of the NRM. This is a slap in Museveni's face. It's pretty much saying to him, dude, don't make me look like I am loyal and pledge allegiance to this document that you drafted. He's telling him you don't believe this document at all. What a brilliant guy. What a brilliant guy. What a brilliant guy. Look, that's an epitome. That's epitome of brilliancy. That's the true manifestation of wisdom. That right there, it is the face of cleverness. That is selflessness. That is patriotism. That is servant leadership. That is real leadership. And that is charisma. Oh boy, Joel Ssenyonyi. Go back to what it says to Museveni. Listen here.
I had the privilege to serve. We welcome the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces who joined us earlier for this tribute session. I would like to urge him to prevail over the various security entities to observe the law and respect the law as they do their work.
Brilliant.
The 1995 Constitution is a brainchild of the NRM government. We need to respect that Constitution. General Muhoozi Kainerugaba was a believer in the rule of law. And that's why he gave up armed rebellion and then served in our national army.
That's why I'm dressed in all black. That was selfless to the core. You know, Museveni was wearing that mask of democracy, rule of law, constitutionalism, respect to human rights, transparency. And people be like, oh my, okay. I don't think this should be the modus operandi. I don't think I should be using arms. I don't think I should kill people. I give up my arms and then had some of his people integrated in the Museveni government because they thought that, you know, with their hands together, they could steward a bright future for Uganda. They didn't know they were dealing with a thug, an opportunist, never been interested in changing people's lives. Sad.
Anyone, whether a leader or an ordinary citizen, can be suspected by the state to have committed any offense.
Now he's talking about Mwanga Chivumbi and others who have been abducted.
But they ought to be apprehended as the law stipulates.
Thank you.
Detained in a gazetted detention facility and produced in court within 48 hours. Lately, Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, people are abducted, taken for days, weeks, and even months. Sometimes they are tortured, their family does not know their whereabouts, and they are not produced in court. This is not right.
Imagine that. If there's a point, if you want to pause and be like, oh, how do I find out that I'm actually in a banana republic, a dictatorial shit show? This is it. When you have the leader of opposition who looks at the Speaker of the House and tells him, hello, do you know Mwanga Chivumbi was Member of Parliament in a parliament, 11th Parliament, where you were the deputy? He's the deputy president of the opposition largest political party. He was abducted. Up to now, we don't know where he is. And Tayebwa, zero charisma, zero appeal, zero personality. He doesn't get phased. To him, it is business as usual.
And we must collectively condemn it. On behalf of the opposition, I extend our deepest condolences to the family of the late Right Honourable General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the people of Adjumani, the Muslim faith which he professed, the Nubian community which he loved dearly, his friends and colleagues, and all Ugandans who mourn his passing. May they find comfort in the years he dedicated to serving this our country. May God grant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba eternal rest and comfort his family in this very trying time. For God and my country.
What an amazing guy. Ladies and gentlemen, what an amazing guy. You need people like Joel Ssenyonyi. He's really patient. I cannot pretend. I don't want to deal with those people. Do I wish them the best? Absolutely. Do I want Thomas Tayebwa to be treated fair? Absolutely. His children to have, yes. But I cannot deal with hypocrites. I cannot. I am sorry. I have to pretend like, oh, this is a good man. You know, they've convinced themselves. You know, the bad thing with staying in power extra constitutionally is you get to a point where you convince yourself that, you know, these atrocities you commit would be committed by another person if you are not in power. So that emboldens you to continue committing those crimes unabated and even actually create excuses for them. So that's why you see many folks on the NRM side, the likes of Tayebwa, sort of don't sound like they are even fazed by anything. Like abducting people, it is okay. As long as he comes on and, you know, he engages in some of the most stupid thing. Now we eat a lot of food. Now what am I going to tell my friend? We eat a lot of food. Please don't come and ask me a lot of food. I am a speaker. You go talk to the Kirak. Like, what are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? What are you engaging in? I know you want to come and ask me for the trip. Please don't ask me for the trip. If they give you trip, I don't care. I don't care. Trip. Member of Parliament is going to go on a trip. He had a microphone. He gave like a speech for 45 minutes about who is coming, how they've been asking for him trips. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? There are girls who are dropping out of school because they don't have sanitary pads. Like kids who do not have food. But the Toripo, oh, look at Thomas Taiba. I'm like, geez, why did they pick this thug? He used to be FDC. What was he doing in the opposition? He belongs to the NRM, and I'm glad he joined them. Jeez. Mordecai, are you getting mad? Thank you so much, Joel Ssenyonyi. I am back. Sorry for the emotions. Please make sure that you stick around. I'll be back here. Let me know what you think about Joel Ssenyonyi's speech. My name is Mordecai Marisa. I am back.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marisa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.